Hello, everyone. So welcome, and we are formally starting the session. This is Austin from the president of MSA, and we have with us Haris, who is in charge of this, and he has been doing this twice already, this welcome event. Thank you all so much for joining us today. As of this point of time, we have 119 of you joining us on this Saturday afternoon. Welcome, welcome. I see that most of you are already in Japan, but there's a few of you who have not come to Japan yet. So the thing is that welcome, and we hope that this session will be informative for you. Once again, as I stated before, we are not using Zoom meetings, we're using Zoom webinar. This means that if you have questions, please put them inside the Q&A function at the bottom. And please look at each other's questions and vote up the questions that you want answered, because this will decide the priority of things that we want to this is how we are going to decide the priority of questions that we will answer, because there will not be time for every single one. I do want to add a few things first, firstly, MSA, for the people of here who have not joined our platforms, please join our platform. So the thing is that I'm just putting the links inside the chat. What you see down here is our Facebook page. Please like and subscribe. Is YouTube, but yes, please follow. And the thing is, if you have not joined our closed group, please join the closed group. This is where you can ask each other questions, and we have a very, very helpful community. Another thing that we would like you to join is also MSA Junction. This is our pretty much mini LinkedIn account that you can actually search for fellow scholars. So yeah, these three things. For people who are, and I will repeat this at the end as well, but for people who are interested in the topic of entrepreneurship in Japan, we also have a webinar that is coming up next week with a current scholar who's actually doing her own business regarding women's health in Japan. And the thing is that if you want to join, please take a look at the link that I just posted inside the chat. So this is all the information that I have for now. Once again, please put your questions inside the Q&A. If you want to, you can also make them anonymous. So yeah, and this session will be recorded and it will be posted online on YouTube at a later date. Okay, so that's all I have as for the basic announcements. Time to Haris. Yep.
Okay, thank you very much, Austin, for explaining a lot of stuff, which I was already planning to send these links in the chat, so thank you for doing that. So let me start sharing my screen. Okay. Okay, Austin, can you see my screen? Okay, good. Okay, so welcome again, everyone. I know you are joining from quite a lot, many countries, and there are some people from Pakistan, India, my neighboring countries as well. So welcome everyone. I am Haris, and I am a master's student in Tokyo Institute of Technology, and I am a MEC scholar as well, of course. And I am from Pakistan. I came in Japan in 2020. Yeah, so let's start the event. So firstly is the introduction of MSA. So MSA is MEC Scholars Association, and to date there have been almost more than 100,000 MEC scholarship holders who have arrived in Japan. So the MSA is kind of the main platform for MEC scholars in Japan from all across the world. MSA is a non-profit organization founded in April, and Austin is the founder along with some other co-founders. And it works directly with the Japanese government to represent MEC scholars and to address their concerns in Japan. Regarding our mission statement, we have three major things. Firstly is to empower its member to share professional experience in building a sportive and inspiring community. Second is engaging alumni, scholars, and political stakeholders in Japan through professional and social opportunities. And thirdly is elevating the image of Japanese scholarship MECs and education in Japan in general all across the world. Yeah, so as Austin just introduced himself as well, Austin is now the president of MSA. He is a next alumni and he's graduate of University of Tokyo. And we have uh, uh, more than 5,000 members in MSA, and currently they are scholars and alumni as well. And as expected, most of the people are like the highest percentages from Kanto region. Kanto is the main uh, uh, like area around Tokyo. And after that, we have people from Kansai and actually from all across Japan. And some of our alumni are currently living outside of Japan as well. Yeah, so as Austin already mentioned, I will briefly mention it again. We have these pages and groups on the Facebook, where on the Facebook page we have more than 7,200 followers, and in our Facebook group, which is our main member area group, we have more than 5,500 members. And after that, we have MSA Junction, which is kind of a internal LinkedIn platform. So we have more than 2,000 members registered on this platform as well. So on this platform, we share information related to job hunting in Japan, part-time job, MSA's social events, and like any useful information about life in Japan. So I will share the links of these platforms again in the chat for people who are joining late. Yeah. So yeah, I will be sharing some resources, and for those resources, I will be sharing the links in the chat. So please keep on checking the chat as well. Yeah. So the main highlighting feature of MSA Junction is that it's kind of connecting the MSA members very closely. And firstly, we share job information, but this type of information we share on Facebook pages as well. But one highlighting feature of this platform is this mentorship. So after registering on this platform, MSA members can volunteer to be a mentor for their juniors, and if you are joining as a new member, you can find a mentor on the platform according to your interests or according to the help which you need. So how to join MSA? Just go to the MSA website and you can easily find the link there. Yeah, so I think this is the main part of the today's webinar, where I would like to introduce some useful information to you. First of all, like, welcome to Japan again. So I kind of describe Japan as a country where you can experience best of both worlds, technology and culture. And I hope you are going to have a really great experience here. So here are a few of the things which students who are new in Japan, they usually ask. So based upon the past questions we have been receiving, these are a few of the topics which I'm gonna talk about today. Firstly is having a credit card in Japan, because this is one of the first things you might be needing after arriving here. And the second is the SIM card. Of course, this is one of the basic necessities nowadays. And then residence. Many students ask that should they go in university dormitories or hostels, or should they go for their personal apartments. And lastly, part-time jobs. Before that, actually, let me close the poll and share results. Yeah, so I hope you can see the results. So mostly people are okay. I think now you can see the results. So mostly people are next 2020 spring scholars, and they have already arrived in Japan. And there are some scholars from last year as well, and probably they are also in Japan. But there is quite a lot of people, almost 30%, who are not arrived in Japan. Yeah, Okay, good. Okay. So firstly, credit card. So why this is important? Because in Japan, it's used in so many contracts, starting from your SIM card connection and many other things as well. So this is the advice which I got from my senior before coming here, that if it's possible, try to bring credit card from your own country, because the process of getting a Japanese credit card would take some time after arriving in Japan. So if you already have a credit card, some of your initial processes would become a bit easier. So please remember that have international transactions activated on your card. So once you for example, for some initial procedures, you use your credit card from your home country. You can, in the meanwhile, apply for Japanese credit card, and after you get a Japanese credit card, it's quite easy to replace it with your new one. Yeah. So, firstly, regarding the credit card, check with your university if they have this co-op office. So, most of the universities have this office, and they issue a student credit card as well. For example, I have this card, and this is the only credit card I have in Japan. So this is how it looks like. So this, I guess, is the easiest and most feasible option. Secondly, as all of the Mac scholars would be having their bank accounts in Yucho Bank or Japan Bank, because this is one of the uh, necessary things which you have to do. So you can request a credit card from your Yucho Bank as well. So, but it's not quite assured that you can pass the application. But regarding this credit card from co-op office, there is a high chance if you select like not a very high limit. There's a chance that you can easily get it. Also, there are some companies in Japan, not the banks, which issue their own credit cards as well. For example, there is one company, Rakuten, as well. So I will be sharing a link in the chat, and I guess this is quite comprehensive guide regarding credit cards in Japan. So you can have a look and you can choose credit card according to your preference. Yeah, second thing is mobile connection. And I just want to inform that there are major three connection providers in Japan. They are NTT Docomo, AU, and SoftBank. These are the major communication carriers. And based upon these carriers, there are some other companies as well, which issue their own packages. For example, there are sub companies, and they use this main connection providers. For example, I'm using a Line SIM card, which is based on NTT Docomo connection. There is this situation which some of my friends got into after arriving in Japan, that they needed a credit card to fill the SIM card application, but for SIM card application, the company was asking for credit card. So it was kind of like a loop which some of my friends got into, but there is a solution for that. One of the many solutions is that get both at the same time. So some companies issue credit cards along with mobile SIM cards. So you can apply for both at the same time. And actually regarding this, MSA has a recommendation. There is a company named as GTN. So it provides a Japan-based credit card, and it has quite good service review as well. So MSA actually has an exclusive partnership with this company, and if you tell them that you are a Max scholar by putting this link, by putting this code, you will get a discount for 1,000 as an Amazon gift. So let me share the link in the chat. So if you haven't got your connection yet, you can consider getting this one. Okay, next thing is residence. Yeah, I also had this question before arriving here, that what is the best option? So according to my own experience, usually university provides its own dormitory, at least for the first year. And after the first year, you have to get your own apartment. So my recommendation is from personal experiences that you should go for a university dormitory because it is very economical because it is subsidized from the university. And secondly, there is no agent fee involved. And usually it's furnished and utilities are included, so you don't have to worry after arriving in Japan because it's pretty much easy to start living in the dormitory. So another option, which is a dormitory as well, but it is not from a university, it is by JASO. JASO is one of the organizations linked with Next as well. So this dormitory is Tokyo International Exchange Center, TIC. I'm actually currently living here. So for this, you have to apply through university, and it's also very economical because it's subsidized from JASO. And there are apartments for singles and for families as well. So yeah, this is also one of the good options. If you actually, I went to my university dormitory first, and then after finishing 1 year contract there, I moved to this place. Yeah, so I think this is also one of the good options. And also, MSA has another partnership with a company which deals with apartments in Tokyo. The name of the company is JSB. And there is this link of the company which I have already shared in the chat. So you can fill your query here, and if you tell them that you are Max Scholars, they have some special offers for you as well. Okay. Oh, there's something. Okay. So next is part-time jobs. So firstly, regarding part-time job, the number of hours which a student can work is 28 hours in a week, and it's maximum 8 hours in a day. And during holidays, because you don't have classes, so you can work as much as 40 hours during holidays. But before that, you need to have a work permit on your residence card. For those of you who have not arrived in Japan yet, so after passing through the immigration on airport, you will get your residence card. So in order to work as a part-time in Japan, you need to have this stamp, which is a work permit on back of your card. So there are two options to apply for it. For those of you who have not arrived in Japan yet, this is the easiest and quickest option. You should ask immigration officer when you enter in Japan at airport. So if you tell them there, they will simply ask you for some information, and they will just put the stamp on back of your card. But if you somehow cannot get this stamp at the airport, you can always go to nearest immigration office, and they will keep your residence card along with the application form for a week or two, and then they will issue a work permit. Yeah, but if you haven't arrived in Japan yet, please remember to ask the immigration officer at airport. Yes, next is part-time jobs. So firstly, the question is what kind of jobs are available? So kind of like random jobs, like working on in a restaurant or a convenience store, like or maybe some other companies. It's also possible. Mostly it's like not exactly labor work, but it's just a simple work. But this may require some Japanese language skill. So, or you might need some reference in some cases as well. Second option, and which is I think quite a popular option among international students in Japan, is English teaching. And there are quite many English teaching opportunities in big cities. And for that, the salary is also a bit higher than the other jobs. So for English teaching, they usually pay from 1,200 to 2,000 per hour. And third option is, and which I recommend the most, is to look for paid internships, either long-term or short-term. And the reason for that is, if you find an internship which is related to your own field, it is of course good for your professional resume. And many internships in Japan lead to full-time job opportunities. And how to find that? First platform which I can recommend is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is quite active in Japan. And this is one of the best advices which I got from my MSA senpais or my seniors. And I tried to go for internships, and I got some internships, and through that I went to the interview process for my full-time job as well. So please keep this in mind. And we keep on sharing the career opportunities regarding different fields on our platforms like Facebook page, group, or MSA Junction. So please stay tuned with those platforms as well. Okay, so this information which I just wanted to mention here, although this is for those who have not arrived in Japan, and I hope you have like recent and most updated information receiving from your university or from your travel agent, but this is something which I had in mind, so I wanted to mention it. So after you arrive in Japan, depending upon your country, you might have to do quarantine, but keep this in mind that there are some countries which are exempted from quarantine, and if you have 3 vaccines, or if you have booster shot as well, and you don't have to do quarantine. Having a booster shot anyway gives you some advantage. For example, your quarantine is may reduce from 7 days to 3 days. Anyways, you can check for updated information regarding quarantine measures on Ministry of Foreign Affairs website, and link for that I'm going to share in the chat. Yes, so this is the things which I wanted to mention, and of course if you have any other questions, we will be having a Q&A session after this fun quiz about Japan as well. So yeah, please feel free to ask any questions and put your questions in the chat box, and we'll try to answer those as much as possible. We already have like 22 questions in the chat in the question answer box. So please have a look on the questions, and if there is if your question is already asked by someone else, try to upvote. And if you have a new question, please ask there. And before that, I would like to have a very fun welcome to Japan quiz to test your knowledge about Japan, because many of you have either recently arrived in Japan or you are still planning to come here. So I think this is gonna be really interesting. The questions are there's a mix of questions, not very easy and not very difficult. So let's check your general knowledge about Japan. Let me bring my screen here. Okay. So I'm gonna share a link in the chat. You can join the quiz from this link, or you can open this website, joinmyquiz.com, and you can enter this game code, and you can participate in the quiz. Thank you. Okay, most of you are joining, so I'm gonna restart the quiz. Yeah, I will give you some time to join. Okay. Okay, so we have 73 people joining us already. So I will be restarting the quiz after 1 or 2 minutes. So if you haven't joined, please join as soon as possible. Okay, I think once we hit 100 mark, I'm gonna start the quiz. If you have not joined, please try to join as soon as possible. Okay, we have 98 people with us. Okay. Okay, we already crossed 100 people, so I think let's start the quiz. So, okay, I'm gonna restart. So, the questions are multiple choice questions, and there is the questions are quite simple. You don't have to think so much. So that's why the time limit for each answer is 10 seconds. I guess that's enough time. Yeah, so let's start. Okay. Actually, I guess I didn't put the time limit, but I will end it manually. So the first question was, which city was capital of Japan before Tokyo? And almost every one of you have answered correctly. It was Kyoto. Kyoto had been capital of Japan for more than 100 years, for more than 1,000 years actually before Tokyo. Yeah, some of you have answered Nara as well, which is actually before Kyoto, Nara used to be capital of Japan, and Osaka, of course, is not the correct answer. Okay, so yeah, let's go for next question. Okay. Okay. Okay, so the question was, what is this food called? So this is quite famous food from Japan, and most of you have answered correctly. This is called okonomiyaki. Okonomiyaki is a famous food from Osaka and Hiroshima. And those of you who don't know about it and who have not tried it yet, please try it. This is one of my favorite foods in Japan. Okay, let's go for next question. All right. Okay. Okay, I guess this wasn't very easy, but still most of you, or at least half of you, have answered correctly. So how many main islands in Japan is comprised of? Actually, Japan itself is an island country, but it has quite a lot of islands. But there are some main islands, and they are four. It is Hokkaido, Honshu, Shinshu, and Fukuoka. And some people think Okinawa is also part of main island, but that's why I didn't include number 5 answer. So yeah, correct answer for this is 4. Okay, let's go for next question. I guess, yeah, some of you are not answering, so try to answer within the limit of 10 seconds. Okay, this question was very interesting. Okay, we have Lucille leading in the answers. Okay, so this, I guess, was a bit difficult question. And as I was expecting, you have kind of confused this word. And the correct answer for this is scary. Kawaii means scary in Japanese language. And it is very close to a word which means cute, but that word is kawaii. It is Kawai. Yeah, I was expecting the exact same response. Yeah, so this is the correct answer. Okay, let's go for next. Okay, this was also a bit tricky question. So let's see. Yeah, quite a lot of shuffle here. Okay, I was not expecting that not most of you would answer correctly, but yes, correct answer is Chiba. And I guess those of you who are already living here, they have answered correctly. So although sometimes it's called Tokyo Disneyland, but the actual area is in Chiba Prefecture, which is a neighboring prefecture with Tokyo. So yes, the correct answer for this is Chiba. Okay, next question. Okay, this could be a little unclear as well. Okay. Okay. Not most of you, but some of you have answered correctly. So the answer for this is 2,500. Although it's a rough figure. But for those of you who don't know, Shibuya Crossing is the most busiest pedestrian crossing in the world. And according to some estimate, 3,000 people cross this crossing at one time as well. So you can imagine the size of this crossing. If you haven't visited this place, please go there. Okay, next question. Okay, maybe most of you have answered correctly for this option. Yes, yeah. So I included this question because I answered it wrongly in a quiz before, so I wanted to include it. Yeah. So as most of you have answered correctly, this company Hyundai is from Korea and it's not from Japan. all these three companies are from Japan. Okay. All right. Yes, as most of you have answered correctly, this is called Tori Gate, and this represents this is very common in Shinto shrines, which are like quite many in Japan. I was expecting that some of you would confuse it with Buddhism. Buddhism is also a very famous religion in Japan, but this Tori Gate represents Shintoism. Okay, next question. Okay, probably everyone has answered correctly for this one. Okay, yeah, as expected, everyone has answered correctly. I guess only those who have not arrived in Japan yet and they don't know much about Japan yet. So I think only those have answered it not correctly, but yeah, this is the very famous iconic mountain in Japan. And you can almost see it from half of Japan actually. Okay. Okay. So this was the last question, and as most of you have answered correctly, Universal Studios is one of the famous attractions in Japan, and it is in Osaka and not in Kyoto, Hokkaido, or Sapporo. Okay, so this was the last question. So let's see the final results. Let's see if anyone has answered all of the questions correctly or not. Okay, so we have 3 winners. IU and another. IU is the only one who has answered everything correctly. So congratulations. And we have another anonymous participant, and then the third position is Shifa. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I was expecting that the questions are very easy. Maybe most of you would answer everything correctly, but there is only one participant. But at least there is one. So yeah, if Ayuk want to speak up and want to introduce to everyone, is if you would like to, you can raise your hand and I can unmute you, just in case. Maybe share your remarks about the quiz if you feel like doing it, or any participant from the top 3 positions. Okay, if not, okay, let's close the quiz. And I think it was a good test of your general knowledge regarding Japan. Okay, so next I would like to share a few of the ongoing activities of MSA before we move on to question and answer session. So the last year, our main highlighting activity was this initiative, which is Mac Scholars Giving Back initiative. So as their there were some MEC scholars who had to come in Japan, and their university was not supporting for their initial expenses like quarantine fees and other initial expenses. So there were quite a lot of people who were in this financial trouble because the COVID was peaking and so many people lost their jobs. And there were many people reaching us regarding some help. So we initiated this fundraising, and we raised almost 1.5 million yen, and we provided and distributed it among the needy applicants. So this was quite impactful initiative from us last year. And yeah, this is the kind of initiatives which we keep working on and keep exploring. And few of the other, but not all, activities from MSA are the Japan daily life and entrepreneurship webinars. For example, the one which Austin has introduced in the beginning as well. So this the purpose of these kind of webinars is to highlight the success stories of MSA alumni. And other main focus of MSA is career webinars. So actually, we sometimes try to collaborate with some employers who offer some direct opportunities for MSA members as well. So basically, the focus of this work is understanding Japanese employers, explaining about job hunting processes, and preparing for your career early. I joined MSA last year, but I have been participating in these kind of career seminars quite regularly through MSA platform, and for sure they have helped me a lot in finding a full-time job and many internships. The one more thing which I wanted to let you know is MSA has this initiative named as MSA Resume Bank. So what you can do is you can submit your resume on MSA Junction, and related companies which are sometimes our partners or some other companies which sometimes reach us to hire foreigners in Japan. So we share your resumes with those companies, and they sometimes offer you jobs directly. And there have been some students who have got direct job offers through MSA Resume Bank. So I guess you can find this link on MSA Junction as well, but I will share this in chat. And you can go through the link and you can fill in some information, and we'll be putting your resume in MSA Resume Bank. Yeah, and to join our team, first of all, we always keep looking for people who want to become part of our team and who want to contribute to the mission of MSA. And for that, I have created a link where you can share your feedback regarding today's event, and you can also fill in a questionnaire to fill your application to join MSA. Yeah, so that is the end of main session, which I guess we have finished a little earlier than expected. So from now on, we will start receiving questions. So if you have any questions, I guess we already have quite many questions, 28 questions in the chat box. We'll start from there, but if you have any more questions, please feel free to write it there, or if you want to speak up, you can raise your hand and we can unmute you to listen to your questions as well. Okay.
So thanks, Haris, for the presentation. Just a bit of announcement for people who are, I put it inside the chat, but the financial aid is still open. So for people who have to pay for your own quarantine fees, if you have arrived already, or if you're arriving by the end of the month, please apply at the link that I put at the bottom in the chat. So just one announcement. And yeah, is there anything else that I wanted to add? No, I think it's okay. But yeah, so once again, please take a look at the Q&A, upvote the questions that you want, and we can just start answering them. Some of these have already been answered in our group, for example. So in that case, then we'll just simply say, please join the group and search for the information. But yeah. So for example, I'll just be handling the first question is about like a MEC scholars who bring their spouse through a dependent visa and how much time it took for the entire process from start to a spouse arrival to Japan. I don't know much about this actually. Haris, do you know about this?
So how much time does it need?
Yeah.
Okay. So actually the first step for that is to apply for a certificate of eligibility in immigration office. And nowadays it is taking from 1 month to 2 months. So usually it used to arrive in 2 weeks, but nowadays it's taking from 1 month to 2 months. So after that COE or certificate of eligibility arrives, you can send it back to your home country and ask your spouse to apply for visa. And I guess in most of the countries, the time for visa application is like 1 week. So you can expect it to be somewhere around 2 months.
Okay, so that is roughly around my current understanding as well. Once the borders are open, it'll probably be a bit less, but at this current point in time, probably 2 months, I think, yeah. Okay, so this is about the next question that we have from an anonymous person is, hi, if we do masters with the MEC scholarship and want to continue the PhD, do we have to do the MEC selection again, or is it possible to extend our MEC scholarship to PhD? Haris, I think you're better positioned to answer this because the thing is you are a master's student, but yeah, what do you think about this?
Actually, I'm trying to look at this question.
So the thing is, I think like Haris, I think your Q&A is currently set to like the most recent questions. Please, if you set it to the one with the most votes, we can see which ones are the most voted.
Okay. I want to find a job in Japan after this one.
The one above.
If we do masters with MEC scholarship and want to continue to PhD, do we have to do MEC selection again, or is it possible to extend our MEC scholarship to PhD? Okay, so the thing is, usually not. You don't have to apply for PhD again, mainly if you want to continue in the same lab with the same professor. So you can extend your scholarship from masters to PhD. You don't have to apply again. But I'm not sure about those cases where you switch your university or you switch your professor. But so continuing with your professor from master's to PhD, in that case, you don't have to reapply.
Just a note about this, for the person who's asking this, I do suggest that you ask this question on the MSA Facebook group, because the thing is that will probably be, we will have somebody down there who has been through the same thing as you. The second thing is, be aware that there is a difference, to my knowledge here, if you are embassy recommended and if you are university recommended. So there may be differences in the scheme of your extension, so just be aware of that. But yeah, advice, please ask the Facebook group. People will be probably a bit more like well-informed to give you a more accurate answer there. And now we go on to the question, which yeah, this is my favorite stuff. I keep talking about this. Finding a job in Japan after you graduate. So for the people who don't know, I am actually also I do lecture about careers in Japan and stuff like that. And so honestly speaking, this is a topic to talk about. And on that note, actually, playlist of previous lectures that we have done, and of which we have lectures which touch specifically about careers in Japan. So the list of all our previous webinars is in the chat. Please, I would suggest that you open it and you can take a look at some of the things. Some of our previous lectures involve how to prepare for your career early. Some of them involve how to handle job hunting as a PhD student. Some of them also involve like some other topics about like how to build your network and stuff like that. So I highly recommend that you take a look at the webinars that are there. For the people, just as a general comment, job hunting in Japan is very different from what many of you have experienced so far. overseas. And therefore, it is very important to prepare early and prepare well. Looking at our previous webinars is one form of that. We have more content that's coming up regarding career building in Japan. So please look out for those type of events and lectures that are coming up through our social media. So sorry, I'm not going to answer this directly because it will take me 2 hours. So I'm not going to answer it like this. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Next question is about, I am looking for other sources of funding to support my postgraduate research beyond the term of my MEC scholarship. Can MEC scholarships be extended or renewed? If not, can you look at other scholarships that I could look at? Haris, do you have anything about this actually?
Okay, so yeah, one thing is for sure, MEC scholarship is only provided within the designated time of your degree.
Yeah, and any opinions about this?
Yeah, so
I think
I don't have like exact organizations which can support, but in university, usually I know some cases in my university, at least in Tokyo Tech, that they have some university-based scholarships, and students who whose term for their like standard time is exceeded, they can apply for university-based scholarships and they can keep on getting the support from university. So firstly, check with the university if they have some university-based scholarships apart from MEC scholarship. And there are some privately funded scholarships as well, but I'm not sure if you can go for them after finishing your a standard term of the degree. But yeah, that thing I'm sure that their university-based scholarships, they do support people have to extend their time.
Okay. Connection that's. Oh, hello.
Yes.
Hello? Am I back? I think I got cut off for a bit, but
you're back.
Yeah. Okay, so so it depends very much so. And I am trying to actually get 2 particular webinars that will be relevant for this particular topic. Okay, so these are the 2 ones that we have done before with MEC scholar alumni who are currently academia in Japan or currently doing research in Japan. So these are the 2 ones that you want to look at. The topic of funding is also like addressed in these 2 webinars. So please take a look at this. Probably more complete information there. Okay, so we have Andres, who is talking about the workflow for setting up your life in Japan, registering residence, opening a bank account, getting a SIM card, what should come first. Honestly speaking, your school should guide you through much of this. But yeah, it is so Sohyun has actually spoken, written her flow here, which is pretty much correct. You will start from City Hall usually, then after that like a Yucho, and after that the SIM card. You can actually change things around because the SIM card can actually be delivered to a hotel, for example. So it really isn't that much of a big difference. But in any case, if you have any questions about this, I would say talk to your school and stuff like that, because your school should be the one, like maybe providing a student tutor for you to actually ask questions and stuff like that. So yeah, your school should know. But once you actually arrive in Japan, your school should, you're not going to be the first MEC scholar who joins your school, so they should know the flow relatively well. Yeah, so let's just move on to the next one. Sharing the presentation file to us. Yeah, Haris, maybe after this, you can just share it on our members area Facebook group, which is why you should join the Facebook group. Yes, all of you, please join the Facebook group. Yes, and we can. I think it's not an issue. We can share the file, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I will share it in the group. Yeah.
The next question is an LGBT plus friendly place group to know. Yeah. Regarding this topic, I would say that I'm not sure whether you mean physical places or whether you mean like online places. If you're talking about online places, there is a group called Stonewall Japan, which is probably like the biggest online community for LGBT themes. Physical places depends on your university and where you live in Japan. So it's a bit hard for me to actually answer about this in general. On this point, though, I do want to approach the issue of mental health. We being a foreign student alone, often alone in Japan, is not an easy thing to do. Okay, and so I do want to say that we actually do have a non-profit group called Tell.jp, which actually does have like a mental health counseling hotline if you're in a mental health emergency. The link is inside the chat, and so if just it may be good for you to have a bookmark. And I'll be honest here. For many people, when you first arrive to Japan, everything looks wonderful. But when things start going on, and maybe, for example, if you have friction with your professor and stuff like that, we have cases where people have had their mental health like go down. So take care of yourself. Be aware of the resources that are available, and yeah, please take care of yourself. The question about the LGBTQ spaces, actually you can find me on Facebook on the group. If you have any more questions, you can have to ask me directly, because I probably will be able to answer. Okay. Now the next one is something that I also just heard about yesterday, and I have no idea what's happening. Japan Post Bank. Domestic transfers for foreign residents since May 6th. Would this have any impact for MEC scholarship transfers? We are not qualified to answer this, but if there's anything, your university should know more of this than either one of us, because they should be the ones who actually know what is happening with this thing. Daniela, thank you for following up. This is also what I think is probably going to happen. You can get transferred to. But yeah, ask your university. Ask your university. We can't really confirm much about how the post bank works. Okay, so I'm just gonna answer this as answered, and the LGBTQ question. Long name. I don't know. My own is Giri Seifu. So mine fit just nicely. So does anybody else actually have any suggestions about for Luis here about having like a long name and fitting in official forms? I don't actually know. Or if nobody has any other answers, actually what I would say is, once again, ask this question on our Facebook group. Because on our Facebook group, we definitely have other people with many long names as well, and they can probably give you some experiences regarding how they overcame the issues with paperwork here in Japan. Okay, sorry, I don't know. I would like to know everything, but I don't actually know everything. So yeah, but with everybody in the Facebook group, they know everything. So yeah, please ask everyone inside the Facebook group. That's my advice for you. So I'm just gonna answer this, and like yeah, so yeah, actually I'm just gonna leave this on here so that other people can answer. So we have questions from Julius. Does anybody know how to fill up the form for the so-called Baito permit? For for people who want to do part-time. Julius, is it possible for you to follow up with either in the chat for you to continue on with what exactly you have an issue with regarding the application here? Also, I do want to add on something.
Yeah, I have recently filled this form because I had to renew my visa after 2 years. But yeah, you have to mention your specific issue or question for us to help you.
One side note, I actually have a blog. and this is a topic that I actually wrote about. What exactly is the Baito permit, and what are the conditions for it, and what are the exceptions for it? People who want to know more, please look at the link that I just put inside the chat. For the people for Dion just now who asked about the career question, please also read my blog. I write a lot about careers in, for foreigners in Japan. So yeah. Julius, if I'm just gonna leave it here, leave a question here. If you have something to fill up to continue, wanted to add on, please put it in the chat or even as a comment to your. We can go back to it. Okay. Okay, this is an interesting one. You want to take your parents to Japan? Is it possible for them to be a dependent? Because as far as I know, the dependent is always a spouse or a child. Haris, do you know anything about this? This is an anonymous question regarding bringing your parents to Japan as a dependent.
Okay, so I suppose they are asking on a student visa, can they call their parents as a dependent on student visa? So I know some cases where some students have called their parents for a short-term visit, like 3 months or so, but in special circumstances. For example, if they're expecting a baby, if the wife is pregnant, they need someone to take care of them, and in that case there are some this lies under the special scenarios for immigration, and in that case they allow your parents to come here and visit and stay for a while. But in normal cases, I think it would be a bit difficult for the parents to come here, because I'm not sure that even after getting job, you are allowed to call your parents here for a long time. And for that case, you have to either have a PR or a highly skilled professional visa, when you can call your parents for a long time. So yeah, this is the information which I have right now in mind.
This information is accurate to my understanding as well, that you can bring them in for short periods of time if there is a reason such as childcare, but I am not aware of a student who has managed to bring in their parents on a long-term dependent visa. Once you start working, if you have the highly skilled visa, then that is a possibility, but that's only after you start working. Okay, so yes, so that's one thing. Okay, I'm just going to close this question. Yep, recording will be given up. Please vote each other's questions. Yeah, please vote each other's questions okay, Julius. Okay, thank you for commenting. Place of employment. Looking for a part-time work opportunity. Hence, I don't have this information. Do I leave this field blank? Haris, when you renewed your application, did you just leave the field blank for your Baito?
Not really. Yeah, again, I'm looking for this question. Where is it?
Julius Tan Gonzalez.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have already answered one question regarding the. So the question is about which field in the application form?
So there's a part in the form that says place of employment, and if you do not have a job yet, what do you fill in that form?
Okay. In that case, you don't have to fill. Yeah. In case you are planning to apply in future, in that case you don't have to fill. You only fill the jobs if you already have.
Yeah, or you just write like, currently searching or something like that, or you don't even have to fill it, I think. Yeah. Any tips on handling daily expenses, at least for the first month? To switch around the topic here, how to say, I will say that the first thing that you should do when you arrive in Japan, go to 100 yen shop. It's my first thing that I would say. Go to 100 yen shop and get as many things as you need. So yeah, just go to 100 yen shop, and that's number one. Number two is cook. Like just cook. But there, aside from that, is there any other way that you can actually save that much actually? Haris, do you have any idea?
Yeah, actually, these are the most two important things which you have already mentioned. Try to look
No.
for Daiso, because that was the first shop where I went after arriving here. Yeah, where you can get most of the things that you need for your daily life. And yeah, cooking also helps a lot in saving a lot of money in Japan.
Probably, like, compared to eating out, it's probably going to cost you 1/3 to half, I guess. Yeah. And when I was a student, I was so into saving money that I really like cooked double or triple portions, and I brought half of that to school and something like that. Usually they have like a microwave somewhere in your laboratory, right? So just use a microwave over there. Save me a lot of money. Okay, so this question about the recording, I'm just going to say that we have already answered that. How early would you recommend that we apply for a work permit before starting to look for a job? Daniela, this is, I am assuming that oh yeah, so Maria, this is a good thing that you posted. Thank you for posting it here. So there are websites such as Jimoti, yes, which you can actually get like old furniture and stuff like that. You can also look at there are groups such as Sayonara Sales on Facebook, or Mottainai Japan on Facebook, where you can see if there's any places which people are moving out of Japan, so they want to give away their free stuff. So yeah, it's one thing that you can look at for people. Yeah, and let me see if I think we have a and we have two links on our website which could be useful. Yes, and I just put inside the chat. We've got two links on the websites. As you can see, right, we have lots of resources everywhere. So please take a look at our resources everywhere. It will really help you, in your life in Japan. So Daniela, moving back to your question, how early would you recommend that we apply for a work permit before starting to look for a job? I am assuming that this refers to a part-time job, not your after graduation work. So if you're talking about your part-time job, the answer here is as soon as possible, because there is no harm in having the part-time job permit, even if you're not actively looking for a job. So yeah, just apply for it and just hold on to that. Because after all, if you are going to look for a part-time job, sometimes they will want you to start tomorrow. But the thing is that if you cannot start tomorrow, then you will have to go to immigration, fill in the form. Maybe it will take 3 weeks of processing, and then you're going to get your permit. So the answer to this is as soon as possible. Dion, I spotted your comment in the chat about the SPI and the internship. The answer is no. It is not a must in any way. But the thing is that the full answer is the full story is much more difficult. So the thing is that please look at our previous webinars and my blog, because the thing is that we've got lots of information there. Taufika, I believe that I just answered your question about used furnitures and electronic items. These are the two groups. So I'm just going to write it down here. Look for Sayonara Sales. You look for Mottainai Japan. Sayonara Sales, Mottainai Japan, and Jimoti, the link that Maria put inside the chat. Yeah. So I'm just gonna take that. Yeah. Okay. Share houses. Haris, you never lived in a share house, right? Because you were in dormitory and now you're in the Jasso dorm.
Yeah, exactly. I have not lived, but my neighbor in this Jasso dorm, he told me that before applying for this dormitory, or maybe there is a time limit for your dormitory after you apply, there is a process that you can enter. So he stayed in a share house for 1 month, and after he got the time for moving in here, he came here. So it is possible, and there are quite a lot of options. But personally, I don't have any experience.
Okay, so yeah, my view about share houses is that they can be very good, but they also can be very bad. So they can be very good because they can give you a sense of community, especially with Japanese people who want to interact with and want to help foreigners. They can be very bad if your neighbor likes to turn on their vacuum cleaner at 5 a.m. So it has happened before to some friends. So they are generally going to be cheaper though. That's also one thing, because many of the share houses in Japan, they do not require you to pay the 3 months of the real estate fee, and then the key money, and then the deposit. So that's why there's pluses and minuses. I've heard good stories, I've heard bad stories. Recommendations generally look online for the recommendations. And yeah, I would say that the best thing is for you to actually ask around your friends in school, asking, do you know any share houses, something like that. That's probably the best way that you can search for places which are close by your school, but also have some recommendations by people who are studying there. I mean, who are living there. Yeah. Okay, tax. Okay, so this is a question about if you receive money from overseas to your Japanese account, will it be will it be deemed as income, and would I have to pay any sort of tax? I am not sure because I am not a tax accountant, but I am quite confident of saying that as a student, no. As a student, no. These are if these are living expenses. If these are business earnings or earnings from work that you have done overseas, then the answer becomes a bit different. But it becomes a bit different. But as a student, for your living expenses, I'm quite confident of saying that the answer is no. Yeah.
Something to add to this. So, from my experience, even if you do part-time job and your limit is not above a certain limit, in that case, you are not liable to pay tax. And even if your part-time job deducts tax from your income, you can always file a tax return at the end of the year. And if your total income is not above a certain limit, you get your income tax back as well.
Generally speaking, as a student, you should not have to declare taxes unless you're already earning a lot. It's very, it's a bit of a complicated situation, but generally speaking, not really much of an issue. How does it, okay, so this is an interesting question. How does it work if we have to delay the end of the research, your master's or your doctorate, or if we give up on the research? Are there cases of the need to return the scholarship money to the government? Now, this is more relevant for people who are PhDs. We understand that for many of you who are PhDs, like your scholarship only is for 3 years, right? And to the best of my knowledge, it is not extendable beyond that. So this is why people, after they finish the 3 years, they go looking for private scholarships and stuff like that. In these cases, I have never heard of a single person who has had to return their scholarship money. I have not heard of a single case. In fact, I have never heard of a single case of people needing to return the scholarship money up till now, even if, for example, they quit their scholarship to get a job in Japan. So up till now, the answer is I have never heard of such cases. Is there a case where this could be possible? Maybe. If, for example, you get convicted of a crime in Japan and you get deported, then they may ask you to return to return the money. I don't know. But yeah, generally speaking, not an issue if it's just delaying and continuing on as a private student. Same understanding, Haris? Okay.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's true.
Okay. So that's number one. Okay, this one is I have applied. I I have applied and Max Scholarship, and I've checked on the form leading. So after I'm okay, so this is a question. My internet seems to be not very good, but never mind. So there's a question about the master's leading on to PhD, and whether the person has to apply to Max again, or the Max will it be continued as I'm selected in the master's leading to the PhD program. There is no automatic renewal, to my understanding. There is going to be some form of application. And so there, yeah, but it's not going to be reapplying all over again, going to the embassy in your home country. But yeah, there is some form of application, unless maybe if your program is a master's and a PhD combined. Now that will be a different thing. But for most, if not all cases, there is some sort of an application for you to declare that you want to extend. And then they will look at the application and decide whether they will give you the next scholarship for your PhD. It is not automatic. It is not automatic. Some people fail. Some people fail. So just be aware. Okay.
Even for the people who have integrated master's and PhD program, they still have to do some formalities, fill forms to continue their education from master's to PhD. Yeah, but in their case, they have higher chance of continuing getting scholarship. But if you are Max Scholar and you later decide to continue to PhD, there is still like you don't have to reapply through embassy. You can continue, you can apply through your professor, and it works rather smoothly.
Okay, so this I've answered this. The question from Habiba about like the resident card issue, I believe that the other answers already have been quite good and thorough. I don't think we need to answer this because this is pretty for the two people who have answered to Habiba's question, this is accurate. And therefore I think this should be fine. Let's move on to a different question then. Okay. We have, okay, so I'm going to close the share house question as well. We have a question about that they are in a Max Scholarship program while pursuing a PhD. You want to know about other sources of internship news, conference visits, opportunities that can be valuable up to apply for. Many page specific for the Max fraternity. I'm already part of the Facebook group and the MSA Junction as well. Thank you for joining. Firstly, thank you for joining. Secondly, there is no, aside from us, and maybe what your school may send to you, there is no page specific for Max that I know of that is active, which is why, you know, but your professor in school who will probably be giving you information about like, you know, about information that's specific to your what you're studying, like, you know, random networking that you're doing in Japan and other things like this. So the thing is that it's not, there is no formula. There is no formula. Just do what you can, meet the people that you can, and talk to the people that you can, and from there you can you can actually get some opportunities. I will say one thing though, and this is as oh my god, I feel very old. I've been in Japan for 10 years already, and so I've seen many scholars come and go. I've seen many private students as well. If you're talking about opportunities, frankly speaking, I see that the people who get the most opportunities and who thrive in Japan tend to be people who do things outside their school. So the thing is that this is just one observation and one thing that I also do recommend. Don't keep president, not even as like MSA. Okay, so just be aware. Okay, did I get cut off? Haris, did I get cut off for a bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, no, I'm just saying that, you know, don't keep yourself to school, but that's a personal opinion, not as MSA president or anything. That's just my personal opinion. Okay, so yeah, let's finish this. In the chat, yes, the recording will be on YouTube. You will need to join our or follow our social media and MSA or MSA Junction for you to see the information. So we've got a question about inviting a family member to Japan to attend your graduation ceremony. This was a question that I believe we saw in our
Yeah, actually, I asked this question in Facebook group. Yeah, so Austin is
ago, this precise question.
Yeah. Austin, you were cut off for a while. Okay.
Yeah, I know, but we already got this. We already had this question in our group a few weeks ago. And the answer is, if COVID is going away, then the simplest reason is, number one, inviting a family member to your graduation ceremony, that's something to do with your school. And number two, for your family member to enter Japan in the first place, usually this will be a tourist visa. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I asked the same question in the MSA group, and
yeah.
I think you're gonna refer to that. So yeah, the simplest option is, of course, tourist visa. And for some countries, I know it's easier to get tourist visa, but it's not same for every country. So in that case, you can either request your professor to generate an invitation letter if your university doesn't have any setup for that. You can ask your university or your professor to give an invitation letter for graduation ceremony, and that would for sure help to get tourist visa as well.
Okay. Next question, Emmanuel. Is it possible that a MEC scholar who came as an embassy recommended student after PhD studies staying in Japan for postdoctoral research? Does MEC support a postdoctoral program? How can you get a postdoctoral scholarship here after your PhD studies? This is something that I think like the two links that I shared just now regarding academia will be useful for you, Emmanuel. The idea is, generally speaking, is it possible that you stay on for postdoctoral research? The answer is yes. Does MEC support postdoctoral programs? Yes and no, depends. This is where probably other scholarships and other programs like the JSPS are more applicable. So the JSPS is probably a bit more applicable. So that's something that you can take a look at after a while. Let me just repeat the webinars. Yes, please open these and share them after a while. I'm seeing that that people want some links in the chat box via email. Okay, I'll just put them in, and we will let me just take some notes. Yes, research-based, because the thing is, I will be sending a thank you email for this tomorrow, and I should be able to find free or sure. And I'm just like taking out all the links that I've shared so far so that we can actually
Some people are also asking for the recording of this event, so please.
Yes, we will. I don't think I'm not sure whether I can do the recording by tomorrow, because the thank you mail is going to be by tomorrow. But yeah. Then there's going to be the feedback and the joining form. Then okay. Okay. Let's just continue with a question, next question. Airport on the weekend, I believe we've got a good answer already here, and so I'm just going to skip it. This is accurate, yes, but this is actually very university specific, not something that we can answer as a whole. Yes, we have somebody who is currently in quarantine right now. Thank you, welcome to Japan. Firstly, welcome to Japan. And if you want to get the PCR test to leave on your 4th day of quarantine instead of the 7th, how do you leave the quarantine place for the test? To my understanding, the MySOS, the quarantine system basically works is you are not allowed to leave your place of residence except to go to the doctor or for your PCR test. Therefore, it is not against the rules for you to leave wherever you're quarantining to go for the PCR test. That is my understanding at this point of time. That is my understanding. So yes, please, I think that's just enough. Does Max pay for accommodation? No, it is out of your own expense. We have a question about how can you find a place to teach English? Do you know of any places?
Okay, so actually I have worked in like 3 companies for English teaching, and for them the process was through referral. They ask their current employees to refer their friends. There are quite a lot. I haven't explored many by myself, but there are quite a lot English teaching opportunities which you can explore. I mean, there are some websites, job searching websites. It's hard for me to recall the names, but yeah, by simple Google search as well, there are some opportunities where I could apply for. But for the companies where I'm working right now, I went to those companies through referrals from my friends. So one thing which you can do is you can like maybe look around, and if any of your friends are already working in a company for English teaching, you can ask them to refer you to the same company as well.
Yeah. So I don't know. So I think it's whatever Harris says. Yes. We have a question here. It's is it so strict that the PhD students only have a 3-year scholarship period? What if the PhD program is a 4-year course? Is the last year not to be covered, or is the whole year course going to be covered if the study course is beyond 3 years? Okay, just a bit of clarification. The MEX rules are that you will be covered until the minimum number of years it takes for you to graduate. Therefore, if your course is defined as that the minimum number of years you take to graduate is 3 years, then you only get paid 3 years. If the PhD program says that it will take a minimum of 4 years, then you will have the payment for 4 years. So that's what it is. However, if your minimum is 3 years, and I am not a PhD student, but the thing is that I know how it is. The thing is that, research is not a straight line, right? It goes in circles sometimes, and bouncing here and there. For many people, this 2 years has been difficult because they could not do field work, and so the graduation was delayed. But the thing is that the rules are that still, if it's defined as minimum 3 years and it takes 5 years for you to graduate, the last 2 years are on your own. That's the rules. That's the rules to my understanding right now. On this point, can you apply for other scholarships while you are on the MEX scholarship? The answer is no. But research grants are a different thing. So for example, if it's a research grant that you are getting, that you're applying for your current form of research, that is not a scholarship, and that is okay. However, if you're talking about another scholarship that is going directly to you, then the answer is no, generally, unless there's some exception somewhere, as maybe an award or something like that for good performance. That's a different thing. But scholarship, no. Or more like this. These things are all of us, me, you, everyone, had to sign before coming. Please look at the terms and conditions there. Did I get cut off again?
Just a little bit. It's
okay. Yeah.
Really fun. Yeah.
So, but the research funds that we've got linked question research funds, same thing. The 2 webinars are probably going to be the best sources of information. I don't know about this, but yeah, research funds. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay.
So from my experience, I can tell that there are some funding opportunities in our university. where we can apply for research funding if we need. I guess that may not be the case with every university, but the first thing you need to look for is your university. Yeah. Most of the universities, I hope, especially government universities, they might have some fund for research activities, and that should be the easier for you to get.
Okay. Next question from Veronica about do we have any physical events? We should have one by the end of the month in Tokyo, but we're still not sure. Still planning, maybe. But yeah, over the past 2 years, we have not had any physical events because of you know what. But like we are hoping to resume to get to know each other face to face. Yeah. So yes, so that's this. Then how do we get the links to share it in the chat box? I will be sending it in the participants' email. Okay. We have somebody who wants to work as a anime and a manga artist. Where do you seek a place to work in this field? I'll be honest here. This applies to many of the creative fields. And I personally work half as a freelancer right now in Tokyo. It is about the network. And I will also be honest about this. As an anime and manga is more conservative than what the image is from outside. And therefore, if you can develop connections to people who are already inside in that field, then you probably can get a recommendation. But without that, it is going to be difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, you can try to look for some social events, maybe on different platforms like Meetup or so, and maybe some Facebook groups as well. And yeah, getting in touch with the relevant community would help.
Okay. So that's that. Poll from everyone. Everyone is from like, sorry, it's a bit too late for that. We've got lots of like small questions that only have one vote. Like, I'm gonna leave okay, let's do this last 5 minutes. So the thing is that, please upvote all the questions that you want us to answer quickly. But there's one question I want to answer definitely. How long would it take to learn Japanese to a level that allows me to find a job? Ooh, this is a topic that I talked about for 10 hours so far, I think, in my life. Just for everyone's information, generally speaking, if you're looking for a job that is general recruitment, unless you are a IT or mechanical engineer or a few other fields of a few other select fields in Japan, generally speaking, the minimum that companies will want is an N3. N2 is considered to be good, and N1 is of course excellent. How long it will take you to learn Japanese to that level depends on how much time you put inside, and also, frankly speaking, your country of origin, because some countries are closer linguistically to Japanese. No, clearly. So yes, but if you can do coding, you actually don't need this amount of Japanese to find a job. I'm serious, 0. But if aside from that, the thing is that you probably want to put some effort into your Japanese if you're trying to find a job in Japan. My own advice is that every single JLPT level that you increase probably increases your chances of landing a job in Japan by, it probably doubles the chances. Yeah.
I would like to add my experience here. I certainly had this question. So I came to Japan 2 years ago and with 0 knowledge of Japanese, but I kind of regularly participated in classes. Learning Japanese, of course, was not my main activity, but after kind of regularly learning it for 2 years, I was able to go for Japanese interviews, and I got some part-time jobs by doing interviews in Japanese. At least I developed a conversation level of Japanese, which was kind of enough for interview level conversation. So maybe if you are asking for a rough estimate that how long does it take, I should say maybe around 2 years. But of course, if you put more time in it, you can do it earlier as well.
Okay, I think we've got one question. So we've got this. The embassy is delaying my employment. Can Max put pressure on them? I don't know. This is between is firstly, I mean, okay, we do not know. I cannot speculate about your current circumstances because they seem very specific. I am assuming that this means that you're an October person, but the thing is that just some general points. Yeah, it may look like the embassy is delaying your appointment, but it may actually be Mex who hasn't finished their processes yet. We do not know. It may be the embassy is like we have one comment, and this is exactly what I was alluding to. It is not necessarily the embassy that's stopping things. We do not know behind the scenes. Therefore, the answer is to whether anyone can put any pressure on anyone else is we don't know. And my own view is that in the end, unless something goes really wrong, you will end up in Japan sooner or later anyway. So just, while I shouldn't say this, for lack of a better way of doing this, is simply keep calm, live life. You will come to Japan sooner or later. Yeah. Yeah. And all the other questions only have one vote. So I think we can actually, oh, we got somebody who wants to Haris, could you repost the feedback and the volunteer link?
Oh, sure. I will do that.
And somebody wants to ask I just wanted, and somebody was asking about teaching Spanish, and I'm like, well, do you have like the Instituto Cervantes here? But the thing is, they do require some qualifications or some experience. But generally speaking, yeah, you have random people who want to learn things, though. But yes, but yeah, so yeah, Horace has just finished posted the feedback and the joining the volunteer team form on the chat. So people who want to give us some feedback, like for example, what questions do you want, or what questions would you think that we should answer for people who are going to join this next time in the autumn, for example? Please fill in your feedback. If you want to join us in our in the volunteer team, please also put so. I am a volunteer too. Nobody pays me to do this. Mex does not pay me to do this. It doesn't pay MSA either. So yeah, but the thing is, we do this so that we can help everyone. I will say that 10 years ago, when I first came into Japan, MSA did not exist, and why we want to do what we're doing right now is so that everybody gets some information that can help them in your stay in Japan, so that you not only not only so that your stay here is going to be more pleasant, but also for you to get more opportunities, and for your coming to Japan to add more to your own lives and your careers as well. Okay, so that's basically why we do what we do and why we're doing this today. Yeah. So yeah. Horace, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, please. I have shared the link of the feedback form, and if you're interested to join our team, please have a look and please at least give the feedback. And yeah, thank you very much for joining us. And I can see that some of the questions which are left unanswered, they have been kind of repeated questions. But if you have any specific question which you haven't got answered yet, you can always reach us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or maybe on MSA Junction as well. I would be very happy to help you and answer your question.
Yep. Don't forget that any of the questions that you have down here, you can always post them on our Facebook group. There we have got lots of people who are very helpful. Just one point though, please be specific when you phrase your questions, because for example, when we talk about what good questions lead to good answers, basically. And phrasing things in a more concrete manner will probably give you a better quality answer than otherwise. So just one tip that I wanted to say. Thank you all so much for joining. You will receive an email, I believe, exactly 24 hours from now. And I will be pasting some of the links that I put inside the chat over there. So so please take a look at all this stuff. Once again, though, we are looking forward to seeing you on our platforms, and there's going to be more stuff happening. Well, don't forget, next week is Anna Krashchenko's like a webinar regarding like entrepreneurship in Japan. We also have one that's going to come up, I think, end of next month, which is regarding internships in Japan and how you can use that to find a job. So yes, we'll be looking at, we keep doing this. Yeah. Okay. So if nothing else, I think we can close the session. Shall we close the session?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can close. I will close it by answering one last question, which is just on the top. So Michael is asking, I'd like to know what opportunities are available for dependents, for example, education. So basically, dependent visa is kind of linked with your own visa. So the things which you can do, like your dependent can also do the same things. For example, if you're allowed to work for certain hours, your dependent can also can work for the same number of hours. But exact job is linked with their, of course, skills. So if they are good at speaking English, I guess maybe in the beginning, one best option for them is to look for English teaching jobs.
Yeah. So thanks so much for everyone. I'm very glad that we had more than 100 people joining us just now. We have still 85 people, but yeah, that's all the time we have for now. Looking forward to seeing you maybe in real life, if not in a different like webinar. And yeah, hopefully this session has been useful, informative, and can add some value to you coming into Japan. Okay. And if that's all, let's close this session. Okay. So thank you all so much for joining and have a great day wherever you are. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. And thanks to all those who have answered the question in the chat, in the question answer session. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a good time. Goodbye.